These five Carolina Panthers are under the most pressure entering training camp next week. With several rookies and free agents added during the offseason, these players must prove they deserve playing time or they risk being buried on the depth chart. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Tanner Blue. Happy to have you here talking Carolina Panthers all day, every day. And before we get into things, guys, make sure to like and subscribe on the videos. Really helps us out a lot. And the best thing is that it's free. It's free, it helps out the channel, and you get your daily updates on the Panthers. So really looking forward to continue building this community and this fan base, talking about Carolina Panthers with you every single day. So to get into things, yesterday we talked about the five players that I expect to break out, to watch out for going into training camp. To me, right now, this video is about five guys that are under the most pressure to succeed. Because if not, they could be replaced. They could be traded. They could slide down the depth chart. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but we need these five guys to step up. And I've seen them do it before. I've seen these guys play good football. And if the Panthers want to make it to that next level, they really need these guys to take that next step. So let's see if they can rise above, if they can do it. But these guys here, I think, are under the most pressure going into training camp next week. So let's go ahead and get things started. Number one is probably going to be pretty obvious for you guys, but I do think he's under a lot of pressure. And to me, that's going to be Xavier Legette, the third man out of South Carolina. Really, the third-year man, out of South Carolina. Really has his rookie season. He showed promise. He was a bit raw, but that's okay. But he showed promise. He showed like he could be, potentially a number two guy for the Panthers on the wide receiver position. Last season was a disappointment, unfortunately. There were injuries. There were drops. There were a lack of production. There was a lack of confidence at sometimes, it looked like. It just seemed like everything that could go wrong did go wrong when we're talking about Xavier Legette last season. And it's unfortunate because I like Xavier. I think he could be a really good player. So going into training camp this season, he's under immense pressure. Tetairoa McMillan is already the number one receiver as a rookie last year. Jalen Coker emerges at number two guy. You've got guys like Jimmy Horn, like John Mechie, like Bryson Tremaine that are on the roster kind of clamoring for playing room and looking for spots. Xavier Legette, if you're a third-year guy and you want to take that next step, you want to show the Panthers this is why they invested a first-round pick in you. I think he's going to have to show up during training camp this year. I think that's going to be it's going to be huge. The pressure is on, and he knows that, but I think he can get it done, and let's really hope that he does. Continuing with that same draft class is going to be a guy that has unfortunately not had a lot of time to play. That is going to be Jonathan Brooks, the running back out of Texas. Look, the few games that Jonathan Brooks did play, I believe it was just a game or two his rookie season, he did show some ability. He showed, hey, this is why we invested a second-round pick in this guy. He showed this is why we should, get this guy behind Chuba Hubbard and make them the 1-2 punch. Unfortunately, injuries his rookie season again, and then injuries last season as well kept him out all season long. So this year, he is under immense pressure in training camp to stay healthy and to just show that he can be that guy whenever it comes to running the football. And I think the Panthers need it. Obviously, there's no Rico Dowdle this year. You've got ETN there as well, which I talked about last video. But for Brooks, if he wants to be that number two guy, if he wants to maybe take over that number one spot eventually, he's under a lot of pressure. I think he can get it done, but will he do it? Let's hope he can stay healthy, and let's see what he can do in training camp. I think he's going to be under some pressure there. The next guy for me is probably under the least amount of pressure, but I do think a lot of people want to see big things from Monroe Freeling. Maybe not right away, but as the season goes along, people are going to want to see a lot from this guy. And the reason I say this is that, the Panthers invest a first-round pick at the left tackle position. Obviously, Ikemikwanu, injured in the playoff game, more than likely done all season. Could come back late next at the end of the season upcoming, but we'll see. The Panthers also add a free agent left tackle from Green Bay as well. That's probably going to be the starter. But for Monroe Freeling, you want this guy to be the answer long term because left tackles do not grow on trees. Another big reason he could be facing some pressure is that you had a few skill position guys there at the pick that they didn't select. You had Dylan Thieneman from Oregon. You had a few receivers that were still on the board that some people were fans of. To me, I think this is the right pick. I think the Panthers got it right. But you want to make sure that Freeling shows that what he's capable. You want to see the potential, the talent in training camp to know, hey, I think we made a good pick here. It might not pay off right away, but I do think we have the potential here to find a starting left tackle or maybe a right tackle or maybe a guard, wherever he can fit in. You want to make sure that he lives up to the hype. So it's going to be a little bit of pressure going into training camp. Is any first-round pick, we'll see. But I think Monroe Freeling, he's got the size, he's got the potential. I do feel good about that pick. Another guy for me is going to be, who I think is probably facing a good amount of pressure, is going to be Ja'Tavion Sanders. The third-year man out of Texas. His rookie season, showed a little bit of promise. I was at a few games and saw he made some plays, and I'm like, man, I think this guy can actually be something. And then last year was okay. You had some drops, you had some injuries. Yards after catch seemed to be a problem as well. So Ja'Tavion Sanders, I think he's got it in him to be a pretty solid tight end in the National Football League. The thing about the Panthers tight end group is that there's no one that's really pulling away or wowing you. Tommy Tremble occasionally will do some really, really nice things and make you go, wow, this guy can be a great tight end in this league. He has his moments. He's a solid veteran. Ja'Tavion Sanders, again, a younger player, has had his moments, but has had some drops, had some injuries. Then you look at a guy last year, the rookie Mitchell Evans. At moments last year, he looked like he could be the number one tight end. So you really have seen potential from everyone, but no one has quite jumped out and taken that number one role. The Panthers, they really didn't do much in the tight end room during the offseason and in the draft. A lot of people thought they would. They're going to stick with their guys, and they're going to hope that they can continue to progress and get better. So Ja'Tavion Sanders, I think he is under pressure because people want to see him take that next step, become that number one tight end for the team, and we're going to see what he can do. I do think he's under some pressure here, but Ja'Tavion Sanders, he has the potential. Can he live up to it? That should we'll have to see. And then enough on offense. Let's switch over to defense real quick. This is another guy who I don't think he's under a ton of pressure, but just a little bit here. And to me, that is going to be Shaw Smith-Wade, the nickel corner. For where he was drafted a few years ago, I think he has certainly played some good football. Last season, he had that pick six against the Falcons. I was at that game. That was a lot of fun to see. The crowd was electric. He certainly proved that he can be a solid player in this league. But last year, you started to see some of the emergence from a Corey Thornton, who was a physical corner who showed up here late last season and played some good football. A lot of people are big fans of Corey Thornton, as I am as well. And then you also have the Panthers drafting Will Lee III, another guy in the draft that is looking to kind of come into the starting lineup. So you've got your two guys on the outside. You got Jaycee Horn. You got Mike Jackson. Who is going to solidify that corner position? Right now it's Shaw Smith-Wade, but there are other guys chomping at the bit to try to get that nickel spot. I think he can certainly make some plays. He can be a ball hawk at times, but can he do that consistently? Can he take over that number 3 spot on the depth chart in the secondary? We'll have to see. So to me, all these guys really under some pressure, some more than others going into the season, but I think all these guys have certainly shown potential. They've shown that they can be good football players, and the reason I think they're under pressure is because we want to see these guys succeed. We want them to do well. We want them to help elevate this team because talent is something that you need in the National Football League, and if these 5 guys can continue to grow and develop, it would be extremely helpful for the Panthers and for the team to make it to back to the playoffs the following season. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget, before you get out of here, like and subscribe. Join the channel. Join the community. Really looking to talking Panthers football with you guys, and I will see you on the next one.